the way that this Austin week worked out is, on one hand, it was like a devastating letdown twice. My team put months of effort into South by, and then when South by flopped, then and Austin came together, then my team was rocking with Austin, and it's like, yo, Shah, we're still gonna do this. And there was a dozen bookings. And then when that shit flopped, after I arrived in Austin and everything was a wrap, everything was a bust, on one hand, it's one of these situations where you can let it just destroy you. But what we did was we said, nah, I'm still gonna rock with Austin. And I made these individual connections with humans that you can't do in a zoo like South by, because your mind's everywhere, because you gotta be getting the bag. But here, every night, throughout every day, I've made, like I've not even just touched the hands, but I've touched the souls of people who represent something in Austin.
Wish I was a kid again. Party every day, now my time I spend cleaning up vomit, with this comment, lost control, fights with Uber passengers, lost a friend, stupid chasing after her, no longer a kid, Bronx SA, Austin, lived, going to work the morning, tired, yawning.
Alright, podcast and stuff, we just started. Boom. Who am I here with today?
It's your boy Shah in the building, Toronto's own, in Austin out here by way of Atlanta.
Damn, that's a triangle.
Here.
That's a triangle.
That's a triangle.
That's a triangle. Damn, this is the universe right here. I won't say the whole thing, but I told y'all before, like, I filmed you last year at the TuneCore show.
Facts.
So this is crazy, man. It's
Big
crazy.
Facts.
Big up Overlord. Big up, Morgan, right?
Morgan.
I always forget his name because his name's different on Facebook.
Got it.
It's not
I didn't
Morgan
realize
at all.
Morgan was Overlord. I thought Overlord was a bigger...
It's like Venom, man. We are one, you know what I mean? It's just both of them. But yo, who is Shah?
Shah's the rapper that is changing the game. And changing the game is what I've been doing for a little bit. If you look me up on Google, blah, 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 through my bars being the part of my music that captivates the old heads. But the music is trap music. The music is modern day music. So that's something that's for the people who still pay attention to lyrics, which is not the majority, has been the defining feature. But now the broader thing that I'm able to embrace is having meaning and having depth in the music and sort of the return of the alpha male to rap. We've been in this era now for a minute of kind of like the beta males, and you have rappers who are sensitive and you have rappers who are not the leading male, which is great.
Yeah, I want to say something, but like you're from Canada, so I don't know if I should say something.
I mean, you can interpret what I'm saying. How, you understand what it is, and that's great. It's great that things have broken down so that you don't need to be that, like, because 90s, early 2000s, it was only really that gangster lane. As soon as you fell outside of a DMX or a 50 Cent, it didn't work. You could have your Eminem or whatever, but it was a pretty limited lane. So it's been dope that rap has changed up and diversified, and you can have sensitive feelings, and you can have, alternative viewpoints, and you can have rappers that are acting like, white kids getting fucked up and like just being weird, and that's great, but we haven't had a leader in rap. Kendrick's probably been the one that's holding it down the most.
He's my favorite of the new generation, but at the same time, like, he's 2 years my younger, so I'm like, he grew up to listen to the same stuff I did. He's not as young as everybody else.
Well, correct. And the new generation, like, the previous generation is whatever. It's like up to, like, say up to Jay-Z or maybe up to Kanye. Kanye's kind of like, the transition.
The bridge, yeah.
But now there's the J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick isn't really the new part of the new anymore. You know what I mean? Like what's happening in Atlanta and all that, that's really the new. Or even if you look at the Lil Pumps and all the SoundCloud rappers, that's the new shit. So there hasn't really been someone who's really held it down and stood for something. So that's the real difference. That's who Shah is.
So modern day sound, but emphasis on the bars. And you said return to alpha male. What is alpha male as defined by you? Because you said some things that it just triggered something I heard, I think in a Russ interview, where you said 90s had the gangster thing. And it was like, it's funny because he said like we was dope dealers back then, which of course dope, it's legal, bad, whatever.
Yep.
But it's still promoting like a form of, I'm gonna be the boss, I'm gonna be the entrepreneur, versus somehow we transition into like the rock and roll style where it's like now we're the drug user.
Right.
We're gonna be the slave. We're gonna be fucked up, coked up, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I think saying it the way you described it is giving a lot of credit to rappers, like, because saying it's like, well, like the rock and roll way is that's pretty good branding on making like music about, like the other way of looking at it is junkie music. You know?
Yeah.
So, but that's true. That's definitely true that it was to a fault that 90s, 2000s was dope boy music. And we all root for the dope boy, like we all root for the underdog. If you really about rap, then you're rooting for the one who had to make it out of nothing, right? And that's my story. But now that alpha male has responsibility to it. And the responsibility is there's a lot of people out here who are suffering. There's a lot of people out here who are the victims of injustice. The system is not right. And there's the conspiracy side of it, which we don't even need to get into. There's just the reality side of it. There's still white police that are killing people in the streets. If you're brown, you can't go to the airport without being harassed. There's brown countries being bombed. There's, as far as you want to take it, there's so much injustice. And now it's on a rapper to use their voice for good. And now, as a rapper who's still on their come up, like I haven't all the way arrived yet, you have to be cautious, or it's tough in just being about something because not everyone's brain is on, right? Like you were talking about the bars with me. It's not like, even with me in the bars, there's a subtlety to it, because if it sounds like you're preaching, no one's trying to hear Joe Budden anymore, right? No one's trying to hear Common anymore. Talib and Mos Def, dope, no one's trying to hear them anymore. So the reality is that if you're just making music that sounds like you're preaching, or even if you're just dropping all your bars up front, people are gonna tune out. So the way that my music is, for people who are just looking to vibe, they get that. But then for people who are smart enough to or for people who are looking for bars, they'll catch something, they'll dig deeper, and they'll get there. So there's like a subtlety to it, and there's like a lot of hidden meaning in my music and who I am, but it's really been during like 2020 where it's like, all right, there's no more fucking around. There's no more waiting until it's safe to be about what I'm about, which is my people. Like I'm a champion for real people. And that's what alpha male means to me.
Okay, so that reminded me. I heard. I recently allowed myself, because I didn't want to hear it at first, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna hear it. And I heard, I think a week ago, the Drake Rap Radar interview, and just like you're saying, he was like, if you want to talk to the younger people right now, like you gotta have some form of melody. Like, would that be the reason? Maybe like why? Like you do like the trap, so like, cause you do have the message, but you're like, if that's the sound of today, like fine, like you willing to do that?
That's not the reason that I have melody. The reason I have melody is because I did used to think any rap with melody was on some pussy shit.
Yeah.
And up until
I feel like a lot of us, because I came from that too.
Right. And a lot of it still is. But when you get to Atlanta, when I got to Atlanta, then there's a lot of street music that has melody, and the melody is the pain. And that's not pussy shit. That's real shit. And then it sounds better. It sounds better than just the Joe Budden shit, right? I mean, and we had melody like, like as a little kid, I remember Bone Thugs, right?
So I mean, even 50 sang, Even
like, 50 sang.
And then I'm sort of.
Yeah. Right. So, but for me, it was, and me, I couldn't deliver that shit. So at the beginning, of my career had a sound that didn't have melody. And there's rappers, you know, like that don't have melody, period, and you know they're able to do it. But when I got to Atlanta, then I realized that this shit sounds dope. And then just with technology, it's like you don't really need to come from a place of being Michael Jackson or being Prince with the skill.
Yeah.
With just having that. And I've gotten better with that over time as well. So that wasn't strategic to bring in melody. It's just that this shit sounds dope. This shit can actually help you have your shit be more real and make people feel something. And I guess beyond that, just the Atlanta music, once you're in Atlanta, is so infectious that it's almost like you're doing something wrong if that doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
You know, if that doesn't hit you and improve you or transform you, then it's kind of like maybe this thing isn't for you. You know, so that's how melody came into my music. Because if you listen to my earlier shit, it's not there. If you listen to like Rookie Card, my first single, it's not really there. But yeah, Atlanta's what did it for me, and that's how.
So it came from being in Atlanta. Then what made you choose to go to Atlanta?
Atlanta chose me, is what I say. So I went there for what was supposed to be a show, one night, and then I was there with my small team, and then we realized, like, wait, all right, the people are rocking with you here. Like, you have fans that we didn't know about. There's definitely industry here, which everyone knows that Atlanta's the Mecca, but being a Toronto, New York guy, you don't appreciate the South. You don't appreciate the South.
Yeah. It took me a long time, but damn, I like to tangent and cut off. So if I do that,
yeah.
But at the same time, I look at myself when I was growing up younger, and I appreciate it now that I'm like trying to figure out life for me and ownership and business and whatnot. But I used to have almost every single No Limit release and almost every Cash Money release. So it's like, but at the same time, I know what you're talking about. I was looked at as a freak.
Sure,
for having
yeah.
that.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to say like, oh, I knew what was up, because I didn't. I was like young and I just thought it sounded cool.
Well, No Limit had it. No Limit, and then Cash Money they had before Atlanta. New Orleans had it for that minute.
Yeah. But I was trying to say something there, but I don't remember what I was trying to say. Continue.
You were saying that you were rocking with No Limit, and like, you know, no one else was taking this out seriously.
Oh yeah. But it's at the same time. So even though I was a fan, you know what I would say at the time, I probably thought they made great music. I love jamming they shit, but at the same time, I don't know if it was just the New York program, and I was like, they still can't be as good as Biggie. They still can't be as good as whatever. But I'll buy your whole entire label's thing.
Yeah.
But in my head, I probably wasn't gonna put still Nas though. You know, like it would still. Not even saying that's right, but that's just how I was programmed.
How the mentality was.
Yeah.
And so from the perspective of, so like me now in like modern day times, not as the little kid listening as a fan, but not taking the South seriously was like, I would never think as a Toronto, New York guy that there could be more opportunity in the South. It's like, all right, well, Toronto's the main city in Canada and New York's the main city in the world.
What year are you thinking this?
This is 2016 when I hit Atlanta.
Okay.
And 2016 was when I put out my first music like properly, like distributed it, you know what I mean? More than just SoundCloud, whatever. So put it out. I was in LA at the time, got to Atlanta for what was supposed to be a show, and then it was just hitting. There was fans there. We knew that the industry was there, like, you know, theoretically, but it's like, wait, like people are rocking with me here. Go to Magic City, like the most, you know, influential strip club, the most influential sort of institution.
I've been there once, yeah.
And then it's like, all right, and it was almost intimidating. It's like, yo, this is the place where rappers are made. So we go there, and then, you know, I'm chilling there with my engineer, Eddie. And then Liz and Mafia, my cinematographer, go off and they're like, all right, let's try to figure shit out. 20 minutes later, they're playing the record, right? It's just like, all right, the shit is just hitting here. So that day turned into a week, turned into a month, turned into like, yo, like this city is launching my career. And so then it was like, so it wasn't me being like, all right, let's go to Atlanta and try to make it happen. And there's a lot of rappers that do that. But it was like, hey, this is happening. And Yeah, so that's why I say like it was Atlanta chose me, or Atlanta just, it just made it like obvious.
So you mentioned Liz real quick. Did your whole team then move out with you then?
So when we hit Atlanta, then yeah, for probably like about a month, it was the four of us, and then Eddie went back to New York. My engineer, producer went back to New York, and then it was the three of us for a while: Mafia, Liz, and myself. And then Mafia, God bless him, big Iranian, 300-pound, my cinematographer. He's just not built for the streets of Atlanta. It just wasn't clicking. And then also it was one of these situations where sometimes it happens, and I tell this to other artists, I tell this to people, like sometimes like bringing the team down in that moment, bringing the team down of what was going on in Atlanta from 3 down to 2, on one hand, it's like, yo, this is devastating. And it was like, all right, what do we do to like keep him, like to keep him here? Because there's more opportunity. Even if he just goes back and just works on my video in LA, even just the expense now in Atlanta is less, but we can't lose a team member. So what do we do to make this work? Because going from 3 to 2 it's kind of devastating. But then it ended up working out that it was just like, it was a situation where it was like addition by subtraction in terms of being able to move. So I tell this to people when they're considering like the team and considering like when it comes to doing the work, sometimes you just gotta like eat it, and things might not be easy and things might not be sweet, but you might have to just eat the work and bust your ass, but be in a better place. And that was the reality. That was the reality for us. So, and like, if we needed to shoot, if we're shooting a music video in Atlanta, Mafia will come down. But yeah, that was how that one went. So, but at the first, yeah, it was the team came through, and it was kind of needed. Like it was critical for it to go down like that, for me to have that support at the beginning.
How did the hip hop journey begin for you? When did you decide, like, hey man, I want to try this, I want to do this, all right, this is my life, like I'm a rapper now?
So this is more game for the kids out there. It was obvious in high school that this is what I'm built for. Obvious. But me, like a brown kid in Toronto, Canada, a Muslim family, immigrant family, there's no concept of being a celebrity, of being a world champion, being like one of the biggest celebrities in the game. So even though I had it in high school, my brain it wasn't even a thing of like, all right, what should I do? Should I pursue my dream, or should I go do some regular shit? My brain didn't even consider that. So then I just stayed in school, which is the biggest regret of my life. And when people see me as a positive role model now, they'll go and ask me to speak at schools, and I'll tell them, if you are a kid who knows what's up, you're one of these brilliant kids who knows what's up, and knowing what's up for you means you can do it on your own, get out of here. Drop the fuck out of this shit. Because this shit is not a system. Unless what you want to do requires this, school is not a place to wander. That was my big mistake. Spent too long in school, and then it became clear that for me, I stay on the side of some regular shit. I stay in a system, I'm gonna end up in prison. This is just not, I'm gonna get in trouble, it's gonna be a wrap. And then, like, the more powerful side of that is like, yo, do the damn thing. Whatever I've intended to do in life, I've got it done. So go follow your fucking dream. The dream that I didn't even realize was the thing, but it's like, do the thing that you'll love to do. And I've had to bust my ass. And it's been a grind. It hasn't been easy, but, and it, like I said, it took sort of me having to circle back around to get there, but that was my path. That's how I ended up making music.
Do you start on your own? Like, yo, man, like, I can just get a beat online. I can just record it on my own? Do you just go to the studio right away, or like how do you do it? Like, are you using Pro Tools on your own? You know, stuff like that.
The
Like,
technology side of it, I don't have. I couldn't do. So
Okay.
I needed help. Obviously, in high school, it was just fucking around, freestyling, battles, going on the computer with the basic whatever built-in sound program, playing a beat on a stereo, whatever bullshit. And then, but when it came time to get to it, so it was internet beats. It was internet beats. And then I remember, it's like, all right, well, I didn't really know what clearing samples and all that shit was, but I knew that if we're gonna take it serious, I'm gonna need to like own these beats, right? Like a mixtape, whatever is, you know, you do whatever. But so then I got connected. My first producer was Jeremy Skuna in Trinidad. And that was, I guess, the first little spark into like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm spending some money on this. We're having conversations. I'm getting like track outs. Took it to a studio. The first studio I ever was at was called Slept On Studio in like Scarborough, like outside of Toronto. Cheap little, you know, $20, $30 an hour type joint. Like pretty homemade. And then, didn't really know what I was doing. Sort of, I just had to figure it out. I guess I could have like, you know, understood a bit using the internet, whatever, but just went for it. And then it still took a minute for shit to get like excellent, you know? But I remember then some of those internet producers, like I would track them down. I'd be like, there was the Beats Craze was a producer I had a lot of his shit. And it's like, you know what, I wrote to this shit. I don't want to just now like take the song I wrote and put it on something else. Let me find this guy. So I found Beats Craze. He's in Brisbane, Australia. Hit him up, developed a relationship, and I was nobody at this point. And he was like, kind of, you know, he was getting a lot of looks. He was just a producer who put his shit on YouTube, who a lot of people would just pay for. A lot of people would just use his beats. So that was the first little win. It's like, yo, shit, Beats Craze is fucking with me. So it went to that, and then after hitting Atlanta, I got with the producers that are now my people, you know.
The team that you said?
Exactly.
You said it's like 3 of them, right?
Levin, Buddy, and Eddie, I guess, has been there before. Eddie was the first. So after I left Toronto, then I hit New York, and Eddie was like, Eddie's been with me since then. So Eddie's been with me since like 2014, you know.
You mentioned did you stay there for a minute? Or
Yeah,
like,
so New York is kind of like still, like Toronto's where I'm born and raised. I love Toronto with all my heart. But it's kind of like who I am, I guess, or people meet me, like their first assumption is I'm from New York. And you know, like Goldilocks, the story, too hot, too cold, whatever.
Yeah.
Growing up in Toronto, I was definitely too loud, too violent, too abrasive for people, I hustled too hard. I moved too fast. My dreams were too big. And in Toronto, it just felt, that's what it felt like. And a lot of people have that. And then the first place that Toronto people are gonna go, and usually the only place they need to go, depending on what your dreams are, is you go to New York. New York's the capital of Earth, right? So if you're in finance, if you're in kind of like anything, and you kind of outgrow Toronto, New York's where you end up. But, so for me, that was like 2013, 2014. I started up at 148th and Broadway, and Eddie was at 146th and Broadway. So that was like the beginning of me with like my Dominicanos up in the Heights. And then eventually I moved downtown. That's where I'm at today. But New York is like, it's just another home. So now whenever I go back, I keep the crib in New York. And whenever I go back, it's like, it's just going home now.
You mentioned the Spanish peeps. So I was hearing Telemundo on the way. Is that song like all you?
Yeah.
All right. So that's you in Spanish?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, what made you do that? I was like, I think that might have been the first or second song I heard. I was like, is this the right art? Because I was like, I don't remember him saying that in Spanish last year. I was like,
and last year I wasn't.
Yeah.
Last year I wasn't. So like I said, like Dominicans really embrace me. I guess all of Spanish culture has really embraced me. So I'm brown, I'm Indian. Yeah. And I got Indian fans that rock with me, whatever, but the culture, there's just a disconnection for whatever reason. Whereas with Spanish culture, it's like the same way that New York is home. Whenever I'm in any Latin American country, whenever I'm in Colombia, Dominican, Cuba, wherever, Buenos Aires, it's like the love that I get is just over the top.
Well, about Puerto Rico?
I never been to Puerto Rico. I never been to Puerto Rico. Maybe I thought it was too American or whatever. I never got a cheap flight from Toronto. I don't know. But well, in New York, I fuck with a lot of Puerto Ricans. Yeah. But Dominicans is a special thing, and probably because I moved to 148th and Broadway. But I've been to Dominican a couple times, and it's always mad love. But Eddie being Dominican is the tipping point. So, like, I can speak Spanish good enough to get like better prices, but I can't make jokes. I can't don't
worry, you can survive. That's all that matters.
I can survive. And I'll do better than like a gringo, right?
Yeah.
But like I know when I go into the supermarket, like there's no point in speaking English right now, you know? But I can't, like if people are talking, I won't be able to keep up with that shit. Or if someone tries making a joke or like watching TV, I can't. But with Dominican slang, because that's what Eddie and like the homies are talking. So I know enough of that shit. So it's like, all right, let's do this. Cause I've been wanting to make some Spanish, like Latin trap for a minute, but it's just gotta be real. It's just gotta actually come out. If I'm like, if someone's ghostwriting this shit for me and I'm saying words that I don't understand what that means, to me, that shit is whack. I know there's money there and like, Justin Bieber or whatever, Despacito and all that sort of shit. Like, go get your money.
But you see it right there when he plays live and doesn't even remember his own verse,
Yeah, so for me, because, I'm like authenticity is key for me. That's part of who I am. It's like, it's genuine. So there was no sense in forcing that shit. But then Eddie moved down to Miami last year. And then I think he may have said, he's like, yo, I think it's time. That shit you've been wanting to do for a couple years. Like Latin, like do something Latin, it's time. So then we got there and it's like, yo, we know this is fire. And then there happened to be a bunch of Dominicans from New York who were in Miami with us at that time. And they heard, you can see if you only heard the song, you ain't seen this shit. But
there's a music video for it?
Not a music video, but this was my first time ever going viral, was the clip of the Dominican homies in the studio when I'm spitting this shit. So they know I'm not Dominican, but then they hear the bars and they just lose control. So then that shit went on World Latin Star.
Oh, okay.
And then blew the fuck up. So last summer, there was a stretch where if you were in New York, and kind of like wherever else that World Latin Star like has its influence, but if you were in New York and you were from like 16 to 30, you saw this video and you recognized all the people in this video. Like this shit just really went viral. The first time I ever had like thousands of new fans pouring in or like hundreds of DMs from like, yo, this shit is fire. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so that's how that came. But no, that's not a mistake. That's me.
What was that writing process like? Or are you familiar enough that it wasn't?
No, it wasn't, because that's a good question. Because I'm saying words that aren't real words.
Because of the slang.
Yeah, because it's slang.
But that's how you win the people over, because of the slang, because you're only going to know it if you're part of it. Yeah.
Bullseye. But the writing part was kind of fucked up because like, and it's in that process that you realize it's like, all right, like I learned español para buscarme lo cuarto. All right, wait a minute, these, how would I say this? So then it's like Eddie's like, all right, well, I guess, because these aren't real words. So how would you spell it out? What do we do? How do we say this? And then later again, you have to go through that because like, when you post the lyrics, right? It's like, well, these aren't real words. So what do we do here? So the writing process was something else. It's like, all right, well, I guess we're the first people who've ever written this shit out. Yeah. Because we're taking words that you only say, and now we're writing them in English letters, and so that was a process that was a once in a lifetime thing.
Is that like maybe the toughest song to write just because of that part that you've written, or nah? Just because like semi-language barrier there, or nah?
Because Eddie was there to like assist. Yeah, like Because if not, then yeah, then it's not. It's not even. It's not even. I can go to the internet and be like, yo, how am I saying this right? Because the slang might not even be there.
Yeah.
And the spelling of the slang definitely going to be there.
Yeah.
So it would have been a rap.
Google correct ain't gonna help with that.
You know. But then Eddie. So, but nah, I wouldn't say that's the hardest song to write. The hardest song to write is when it's, for me, is like when it's a song where it's the one thing that Atlanta's helped do for me. Open me up with the less glamorous side of shit. So when it's being real about the things that aren't so glamorous, like the hard days, because I do feel compelled to put that shit out there, that's harder to write. That's harder to like open up and then.
Well, why do you think that is? Like, why is it? Like to maybe just share that part of yourself? Like the vulnerability, is it? Or?
Yes, exactly. Because I am that alpha male. I am the person who's standing up for a lot of people. And I do still have like the judgment in me. When I look at someone talking sensitive, I'm like, oh, that's some pussy shit, right? So all of those combined makes it like the real reasons, and then like the reasons that it's like, yo, I should be better than that. All combined to just make it tough to really put it out there in a way where also it's like it means something, because there are a lot of people that talk about struggling that maybe they didn't struggle or maybe they did, but it just sounds like you're trying to be something that you're not. So it also needs to be an experience that's real, right? So like, you know, I started from the bottom. That doesn't mean something, but like, oh shit, I slept on the floor, or I slept on the box spring, or shit, I used shit. When homies would come over, they would use newspapers as blankets. That shit means something. That's the real shit that you can feel, you know? So putting those things in words and writing it down, for me, that's been the hardest writing.
When you do that though, how has the response been from the people? Do you think any different than the normal alpha self, or do they like connect in a different way?
Yeah, people connect. So I haven't released any of that stuff before we started. I was telling you that my biggest, I don't know if it's the biggest thing holding me back right now. It's like, all right, why is Shah not up there with Kanye, Drake, and Kendrick and all them right now? Is that there's not music out there. I just haven't put music out there. So the response to that stuff in Atlanta for people that I've played it to privately has been like, oh, dog, okay, now you're feeding us, right? I haven't put it out there yet. So broadly, I haven't gotten like, I haven't been able to test out the response, whatever. But I know that in Atlanta, the response to this music has been like, oh, okay, yes, my dog, you're feeding us. Cause it's that like, it's the streets of Atlanta that embraced me. It's the streets of Atlanta that launched my career. But I'm not from the streets, and I'm not really making street music. I've been blessed to have been embraced by the strip clubs and the strip club DJs and the dancers and all that shit, and the people who are really in the streets. But it's like, it's almost like an unfair advantage. It's been almost too easy, because in some ways I don't deserve it. Like, I wouldn't like to see someone like me, some outsider, come who's not from the streets and win them over. But that being said, the streets still do have an affinity for that pain music, like Derez Deshawn, Hardaway. That's a song that that's like an anthem for these streets. So me putting it out there, yeah, it's definitely like been. It's sort of like it sealed the deal, you know, for the people that have heard it. It's like, okay, yeah, this is what we believe this guy was. He is, you know.
It almost sounds like some guilt there, like that you have been embraced by Atlanta, like calling yourself almost an outsider. But why do you think they embrace you so much, though?
I think they embraced me because two reasons, I guess. One, Atlanta's produced so many stars, so many headline rappers that they know when someone's next up. So in Toronto, in New York, you know, there's a lot of hating, right? If you're a rapper who's trying to make it, no one's trying to give a look to a rapper who's trying to make it.
You asked till you there, and then it's like, oh shit, my bad, you the shit. You know, like, I was rocking with you since day one.
Afterwards. But on the way up, I remember telling someone, I'm like being an aspiring rapper in Toronto. Now I didn't do the work in Toronto, but being an aspiring rapper in Toronto, like what I tell people is like it would be the equivalent of being on welfare. Like they're about the same level of prestige, right? In Atlanta, if you got it and you're on your way up, people are gonna know that you got it, and they know, hey, this is like, he's right about to be up. So the reason I was embraced by Atlanta is just like Atlanta embraces, if you've got it, then Atlanta knows it, and then there's no hating in Atlanta. And then specifically with me, beyond just like the music being good, whatever, and me, you know, being like likable, whatever, it was that they can see me and they could see international, they could see global. So what the DJs, like, you know, I'd hear people talking about me and they'd be like, yo, this guy's gonna be like the global Drake. This guy's gonna be the international, you know, superstar. Their rap doesn't really have, like, the rap doesn't have a Michael Jackson, right? The rap doesn't have like a Muhammad Ali, right? We have like a Jay-Z, we have a Kanye, we have a Drake, we had a Pac, but beyond like, you know, America, Canada, English-speaking countries, this shit's not that profound. And that's what people see in me. That's what excites people. That's what's got the game changers behind me.
You were telling before, like, the only difference between you and them is that you don't have the music out yet. Like, and me and my friend, we've been like studying, we game a little bit more serious than the last year. And it was like, whatever story you want to take, whether it's Russ's prolific story in the beginning or Griselda's, you know, even though for most people it's 2019, they've been grinding for a minute too, you know.
Who?
Griselda? You know Griselda?
Griselda, I'm not sure.
There are 3 rappers out of Buffalo.
Okay.
They're interesting in that, you know, they're like time travel rappers. They sound like they from the 90s. Like, Benny, one of them just put out a song yesterday, and I was like, what is this beat? Like, it sounds like normal music. That's the first time I heard them on a normal beat. But they sound like they from the 90s, like 4-bar loops, and honestly, little to no choruses. Like, little to no like emphasis on that no chorus. It's just bars, like just street bars. It's like wise, and they've been climbing. But regardless of the fact, almost every story, my friend was like, well, you know, no stories are the same, but all the stories seem to have one thing. They all have music. They all have a shitload of music too, and they're all doing it a lot, you know? Because Griselda got mixtapes out the ass, and so does, you know, I remember Russ for the Wolf album. I don't remember the whole title, but he made his whole post, and it was like, all right, here's my overnight success, and it was like 291 songs or some bullshit, you know? Like, and it's like, damn, like, that was a lot. But at the same time, like, all right, like, that's why I like people's like origin stories, because that made it seem so realistic. Like, all right, it just took 291 songs. That's a lot, but that's like also doable. That's like,
sure.
And there's like a goal point now to look at, you know?
Sure.
Like,
yep.
Like, do a lot because you get better over being prolific and stuff.
Definitely. So especially if you're doing it on your own.
Yes.
If you're doing it on your own, then what I tell people, I guess this is like a little cheat code or whatever it is. You're doing it on your own. You have to swallow your pride. And that's, again, probably been like, why haven't I just put all the music out there? Well, if you're on your own, it takes a lot of fucking work to make a song pop, right? Just Text was the song that popped for me, right? In Atlanta, 2017. And I had to bust my ass to make that song go. Now, bust your ass in Atlanta still means you're going into strip clubs. So you're looking at titties out, beautiful girls in Atlanta strip clubs.
Sounds like a struggle.
Yeah, exactly. So it ain't that bad, but it still is busting your ass, especially when you're going from unknown to your first hit, right? And then at some point you do need the budget. And at some point you do need the budget Because like in Atlanta, I was able to do it based on the relationships and based on people believing in me, right? But then as soon as you get out of the place that you know, there needs to be a budget. So you got your label that's got $250,000 to put on radio and then on this and on that and set up a press tour. It's different. But on your own, it's like, well, shit, like it's just without the dough, shit is just gonna be like, how far can you take it? So that's what kept Just Text from being like a national hit, right? And then it was like, I don't want to go through that again for the same result. So I've had my breakthrough. So now I'm like, I'm not an aspiring rapper anymore. Shah's popping in Atlanta. Shah's like the hot new artist, next up, new star or whatever. But I don't want to bust my ass again and have a song that repeats Just Text, but it's not a national, like, but keeps short of being making me a national household name, right? So, and the reason was, well, it's just pride. It's just pride, and it's like a fatal flaw. Because if you're doing it on your own, the cheat code is that, yes, attention spans are short. Attention spans are short means the value of quality is not what it used to be. If you put out Illmatic right now,
that shit'll be forgotten about
exactly,
so quick.
Exactly, because no one's paying attention, especially to something that they don't know. But the hack or the shortcut is that through consistency, you can achieve that familiarity in the minds of everyone, so that eventually they'll have seen you so much, whatever, scrolling, whatever, that it's the assumption that, oh yeah, I know what this is. So then they give it that look, they give it that listen, right? And then just subconsciously, that it's like, oh, okay, this guy's on, you know? So like 250 songs into a Russ joint, even if you've never heard a Russ song that you like, but you've heard it, but you've seen, 250 or 100 or 30 or 20. It's like, oh, okay, this guy must be on. And then eventually you hear one that you like, right? Or even if you don't, even if you've never heard a Russ song that you like, it's like, okay, well, he's on. I don't get what that shit's about, but he's on. And now eventually you just like muscle your way to being on. So that's really for me being on my own, that's been the thing that finally now I'm like, I've had that realization. It's like, all right, just put it out, like bust your ass, put it all out there, and then it'll go. And it might not be this magical moment of you put out one song and it goes viral and you didn't have to work that hard. You kind of got to let go of that thing,
Almost all of them, whether it be like Russ or Grizel, because I think some people used to try to pinpoint the song, and it seems like there is no one song. But by doing all these things, whatever clicked with whoever, they would look back, oh, so like gradually it kind of all started growing as that consistency kept going.
That's definitely what it was for Russ. Yeah, that's definitely what it was. I mean, there's probably someone who's put out a lot of music and it was one joint, but I don't know. I can't think of that example. But consistency, I mean, and the real cheat code for people is that if you're really consistent, you're prolific, then you don't even need to be that good, right? Like we all like, we realize we're not in the era of quality. Look at all these SoundCloud rappers who are just, robbing stores, and then, the attention's on you, and now you put on a song and the song will do something, right? What's that girl, Cash Me Outside?
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
like,
damn.
So you got these little, like we know that we're not in the era of quality, but then so if you ain't got shit going on, then, but you can be prolific, hey, you got your lane, So.
Do you have, if you can even say now, do you have your rollout plans yet for how that music or? Yeah.
So the rollout plan is that there's about 3 hits that we know that we're sitting on. And then there's about 30 or 40, I guess also sort of like hits, but there's 3 sort of like,
these are some bangers.
Yeah, right. Like no matter who you are, you'll understand that this is a record, right? So me being kind of like, whatever, cautious or not wanting to bust my ass for a maybe, I've been holding these 30, 40 songs for the right moment too. And now it's like, now let's put these joints out. And a few weeks ago, it was like, all right, let's put these out every couple of weeks. And now I'm the one who's saying, yo, let's just get all the shit done and let's start putting these shits out every fucking day. With this whole end of the world shit, right?
Yeah.
Let's just start putting this out every day. And with those 3 songs, there's already labels that are trying to sign either a single deal or sign me all together with just this little package that we've got going on. So now, the more of these songs that I put out, the more numbers I have, the better that those offers get, right? And then, you know, if I do decide to go that route, I have the full steam, the full power to really flex and have the campaign behind me, right? If that's even needed, because, you know, it won't even take me 30 songs, right? But that'll be the decision that I get to make at some point. It's like, all right, well, the numbers are going up. Now we can get a deal that I'm willing to take. So then it'll just be a matter of like balancing it out, you know?
You sort of answered it there, and this was really last minute, all of this podcast. But one of the things I did read on the stuff that was sent to me, and I'll say, because I do like talking about this. Why do you, or did you choose to remain independent? You kind of were answering it there, but yeah, if you want to go more on it.
I answered it there is that this is totally a business, right?
Yeah.
So meaning the era of believing in someone because of talent and giving them a look, that shit's long gone. So the labels are really only investing in you totally mathematically. So it's like, all right, well, what are your numbers, right? And then the reality is that until you've got a national hit or until you're right before the moment where the label can step in, push the button, and transform the shit, like what happened with Country Road, right?
Yeah.
So that boy been working the shit on TikTok and Twitter or whatever. So he was like a meme specialist or some shit like that, right? So he gotten TikTok going he gotten the song going on TikTok, and then it was like, all right, the song's catchy, the song's going, kids are already rocking with it. At that point, all we need is like a radio campaign. We just need a little bit extra that the labels got, invest in it, and then it goes boom. So until that moment, the deals you're going to be getting are going to be, the math just ain't there. It's just not the right deal. So now, if I was 16 and I've been getting these offers, then it's like, well, a deal just feels good. A deal just sounds good. Even if it's like, all right, here's 50,000, but it's just a loan that you got to pay back.
Yeah.
With interest. It doesn't matter, because if you're 16, you get this shit 17, 50 G's, and I got a deal, I'm on, I take that shit. Now it's like, no, like this is not a good deal. So at what point do you have the leverage? Because then the deeper you get into it, the more you realize a deal is just a loan. I can go get the bag from anywhere. I can go get the bag. Like regular ass people go get a mortgage, right? So getting the bag is not the difficulty. And then you break it down, you're like, all right, so what are the labels really offering other than this bag that I can go get from fucking anyone? And then it comes down to like, well, okay, they still got a grip on radio. But then do these guys really even understand, like, are these guys really even locked into playlists? Are these guys really even locked into Instagram? They're not really locked into TikTok. So that's the reason. It's just like, well, what are you really gonna do? What's really gonna be the difference right here is the reason that, you know, like I've engaged. I know the story that people say, that people tell about me, is that he's independent. He won't fuck with a label forever. And it's not that. It's like, well, when the money's right, when this is a win-win, but I'm definitely winning, right? And you always want your business partners to win as well, so that, you know, you're doing good business. But it's got to be a big enough win for me to give away anything. So, and that's just not how the labels operate, because they don't need to. And that's, you know, that's what it is.
Got you. We're getting close to the wrap-up time. But I got some life questions I could hit you with real quick.
I'm ready.
I remember the first one. It's simple. Who's your best friend?
My best friend.
Who's your best friend? Yeah.
My best friend. the most love I have in life is for my family. And that's the biggest blessing I have in my life is my family. My best friend is, then beyond that, who do I have the most love for is my team. And the team that goes in all day for me. And that's Liz, that's Levin, that's Eddie. So that's my best friend, is whose loyalty is all the way up and who's putting it in every day. That's Liz. Liz is like the big blessing in terms of someone who is doing shit that's maybe they're not built for. You know, someone who's putting themselves in situations that is like some real street shit and doesn't matter and just figures it out. So that's yeah, I can't pinpoint it on one, but that's who it is. My family, my mom, dad, my sister, Liz, Levin, Eddie. That's like, I know that no matter what it comes down to, their loyalty and their love for me is 100%. So I never need to think about anything.
When we started, the first thing I asked you was like, who are you? What are you now? That's the question.
What am I? What am I? I am a game changer in terms of transforming the role that an artist plays from being just an entertainer into being a champion for the people. So a rapper comparing themselves to Tupac is like, you know, that's it's what's the word? Sacrilegious. It's not something to do, right? Because people's emotions, you know, get wound up. And then Tupac was like, you know, righteous beyond words. But he was the last rapper that stood for more than just music successfully on a wide scale. I don't want to compare myself to Tupac, and this is not something that I'm doing tomorrow, but being someone who at the highest level of music represents and champions people who need it beyond music is who I am. And then the example that resonates is Muhammad Ali. And that's what I am. And now this is my long-term, this is the long-term, what am I? But the same way that Muhammad Ali didn't do it in his first fight, or he didn't do it when he won the Olympics, he didn't do it when he was still Cassius Clay, that's what I am. And this is like the long-term plan. But before, you know, I'm out of here, that's what.
You're ahead of most people in that you even know. You know, like, because most of us don't know. And then depending on who you're talking to, time ain't linear. So we're just catching up, you know? So, like.
That's the part that, yeah, that's the part that's been the rough part, where it's like you're grinding through it, you know? And it's like, yo, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I deserve to be. I see people, you know, advance past that ain't got it. And realizing that, well, for me, this is a long game. Like for me, I'm not gonna disappear. It just satisfies that part, you know?
You as an artist, it is an easy question to answer, but maybe you got something better than this. But what do you think people think you're crazy for believing that you believe? Because I feel like every artist, like you were telling the rapper story, can just say that, you know? like
people, outsiders who don't understand, probably think I'm crazy for ending up in the streets of Atlanta and just thinking that I'll be able to figure shit out. Going against the US government. Right now, people probably think that, and those two I would say are kind of justified. It's like, well, yeah, okay, I put myself in the streets and thought it would work. Sure, that's crazy. One where people might think I'm crazy. I don't know what people think exactly, but I've been rocking heavy all the way. The only person or the only anything that I've invested energy into meaningfully beyond myself in the last few years is Bernie Sanders. I've gone in on the Bernie Sanders campaign. I'm a surrogate for the campaign. I'm a champion. I talk about him. I think that some people might think I'm crazy because, one, of the way the media portrays him. So if all you get is your little Fox, CNN, New York Times bullshit media coverage, and you believe that shit, you believe that, oh, Bernie Sanders is a communist or whatever the fuck idiots believe, right? Then you'll probably think I'm crazy too, because they'll be like, oh, well, he's rocking with this communist or whatever people. I don't know exactly what, like, people who watch Fox think of Bernie Sanders, right? I don't know what they, but whatever they think of him, they would think that of me. But then also on a level that I can relate to a little bit more is that there hasn't been any American politician that got up to this level of running for president meaningfully that was legit. That there's no one, and when I say no one, there's no one that was genuinely about the population, that they're genuinely a champion for the people. Nobody until Bernie Sanders. There might be at a local level, whatever, but if you're about the people, so you're kind of not about the corporations, then it's gonna end for you. This is what it is. Bernie Sanders, all the white privilege, he's like a white male Jew. He's been able to get up to where it took him his 70-something years of life to get there. So he was able to get there. So I understand people though that are like, no, he's just another politician. And then they would think that I'm crazy because I'm rocking with him so hard. And that crazy is easier for me to digest than the people who just think that I'm crazy because they think Bernie's, a communist, like I already said. But yeah, right now, if people are like, if you were to ask people who thought I was crazy, why is Shah crazy? That's probably what they would say to Bernie Sanders shit.
I'm hoping something good to happen there, but I feel like it's looking like Biden's gonna win, unfortunately. But
I don't know. I don't know what to say because it's like,
I don't know what to say either, but it just looks like, that's the
math
game.
is showing. There's definitely a component to it where the media that's been bodying Bernie for 5 years now paints things in a certain way, right? And before these last 3 states, when it was like after the Super Tuesday, that they were making it seem, there was Super Tuesday and there was another, it was Michigan, when Michigan and the other states voted. And after that, they're like, oh, it's a wrap, right? It's a wrap. He's down by 100, 150 delegates, whatever. It's a wrap. But then Obama at that point, whatever, how many ever years ago, was down by 300 delegates. So way more than Bernie, and Obama still took it. So the way that the media portrays shit definitely leads to this attitude of like, oh shit, it's over. So then if you are a Bernie supporter, you're not gonna go and vote because you're like, oh, well, what's the point? This shit's over. And that shit is fucked up. That shit is very like, so, but then that being said, it's like, it definitely feels like momentum's been lost. So I don't know, like, hopefully Joe Biden gets, so that's all we can, like, I don't know what else. Maybe Donald Trump and him have like, I don't know, maybe they fight each other and they both die. I don't know what is the best solution. Both of these are good solutions, but I don't know what will happen, and I want to be positive, but we're also so fucking stupid that here we have a guy who's offering healthcare and the world is fucking ending. Thousands of people being bodied in countries like Italy, like countries with better healthcare than this one. And people can't even be motivated to get behind them. So maybe this country doesn't deserve.
You said it. The media is very powerful, man.
Media is very powerful, for sure.
I'll just say this and I want to go to the next one. Because with the thing with healthcare, I always find it hilarious that they're always like, free healthcare is going to destroy whatever, the current climate of good healthcare that some people have. And I think that's ridiculous because we live, now that it's being used a lot, by the way, we live in a place where you have public post office, USPS, and yet UPS, FedEx, DHL,
Right there, hey. There
public and private. I'm like, it's already a proven concept right in front of us. You don't need to.
I never even thought about that.
I'm like,
I never even thought about
it's
that.
literally existing as we speak.
Yeah.
Like, now we'll just do it for healthcare. If you want your private one, cool, go. But here's the public one. If you can't do nothing else, like it. Anyway.
Yeah.
If you were rich, how would you live your life?
I think I am rich. I am in a place of abundance. So I don't think there's much that would change. Maybe like private jets instead of commercial flights. I'd buy a lot more. And I've just started to think about this. I would buy a lot more shit for my mom and my sister. I want them to also reap the rewards of me, So that's another thing. I would probably buy a lot more for the people that I champion with my voice. I would probably buy a lot more books and weapons and medicine and food for these people as well. So yeah. For myself, I don't think there'd be that much of a difference. Maybe a personal trainer, because I do P90X, but I'm not that on top of it. So yeah.
What is this has sort of been answered, but I'm asking anyway. What is your goal in life?
My goal in life is to touch billions. My goal in life is to touch billions.
The world.
And the plan is in place because America and Canada and Europe, like the places where rap is already the dominant form of music, that's underway. I keep doing what I'm doing. That's all coming to me. But now the difference between me and Kanye or Jay or Drake or whatever is that now I'm brown. My parents are from India. So now we have India through Bollywood, which touches Pakistan, Sri Lanka, North Africa, Indonesia, England. It has another, couple of billion people who are influenced by that. So now we have that, and now the more interesting, more fascinating, the wild card on top of these two is Latin America. So it's already started with Telemundo. And Telemundo really was like a New York, Dominican, a little bit of Puerto Rican phenomenon. But it was the first thing that happened effortlessly. Like I busted my ass in Atlanta to get Just Text to pop. Telemundo was, I never left the chair, right?
But it's because you did all the work before though.
It's because, but even that work was just like real, just like being a human with my Dominicans, and then definitely Eddie understanding the way that that how Dominicans consume content and all that, right? But now that goes beyond Dominican, that goes into say Colombia or Venezuela or even Puerto Rico all the way. Now now that oil field has caught fire as well. So that's sort of like third in line for me. And now this might be 5 years, this might be 3 years, you know what I mean? It might be 18 months, who knows? But billions is where I'm headed. So that's and like I said, that goes back and answers the question of like, why did Atlanta, and Atlanta wouldn't even know these things, but why did Atlanta get so excited for you? And that's the reason.
Are the 3 things you're thankful for in life?
3 things I'm thankful for in life. My family is my biggest blessing in life. My team, Liz, Levin, Eddie. And number 3 is my ability to always get the shit done. My hustle, my strength, my brain, but my drive, and now also the confidence of knowing that like whatever it is, I'll get it done. But just whatever it is, what are we looking at? Go. That's what I'm most grateful for.
Next one is 3 years in the future. You definitely said what your future is like, but you didn't have the timeline there.
Right. So 3 years. So 3 years, I'll be one of the, if not the biggest, like rapper, like American, whatever, right? And 3 years, we'll see the start. We'll see the spark of one of these other territories, whether it's the brown, well, they're both brown, whether it's the Latin America brown or it's the South Asia brown. Within 3 years, I'll probably be a little bit ahead in one of those places of where I am right now in America. So 3 years, possibly not the biggest star or one of the, maybe not one of like the 3 or the 5 biggest stars, but like an emerging name in 3 years in one of those 2 markets on top of just, being a king here.
What is the perfect day for you?
The perfect day?
Yeah.
The perfect day. So there's definitely girls at the beginning and the end of the day. So wake up with some girls in bed, go to sleep with some girls in bed. At night, there was a wild show, thousands of people out there. I'm stage diving. Before that, just running through the day, I'm with my team, eating food, a lot of meat, salsa picante. Before that, we're in a beach town. There's an ocean. It's sunshine. Before that, I got some family time. Maybe it's a call or a video. My parents aren't really with like beach towns and that sort of shit. They think, that shit's kind of corny. So maybe they didn't fly down, or maybe they did. Maybe I convinced them, whatever.
Perfect day is your perfect day. You convinced them.
Yeah, there we go. I convinced them. It's just that the girls are around too. Everywhere, so I don't know if my family
just the middle of the day, maybe the middle of the day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They definitely got their own hotel room, right? So my family's there. It's my perfect day. You're right. Good call. So the whole family's there. So now we're going back. I got my jugo de guayaba. We going back before that. There was some new, like a new song hit number 1, a new TV show that I'm on. Got a deal, some like, boom, number 1. Boom, here's some money. Boom, here's something. Bernie Sanders got elected to his 2nd term. We just got that news. Now I'm waking up, lifted some weights.
Got that trainer?
I got the trainer. The trainer's another bad bitch who's with me.
Okay.
Had the protein shake. Before that, now we just woke up. 3 girls in the bed. And that's my day. That's a good one.
Boom. That's what's up. Here's the final one. What is the question I should have asked you but didn't?
The question that you should have asked me but didn't is, why do the people, or the question that I get the most is, why do the people call you light-skinned Jesus? Why do people say it's the modern day Messiah? Why do people say that he's the modern day prophet? Those are that's the question that...
Why is that? Why do they call you that?
I think people call me that because I am a champion for the people. I think there's a meme component too of it, with my hair down, I look like Jesus. And I think that the light-skinned Jesus is referencing the fact that, Jesus wasn't white, how he's depicted in all this. So there's a part that makes people feel good because here's a bit of reality. But I think the reason is that, like when it's not Jesus, when it's like Messiah or a modern day prophet, I think it's because I'm a champion for the people, and it doesn't really do my career any good to be political. Kind of the way that you could say if Bernie Sanders took corporate money and whatever, switched on positions, if it got him more votes, maybe he'd be up there right now, right? But it doesn't do him any good to be real with it. The same way that people realize it doesn't do me any good to champion people who might not even be listening to rap music, you know? But I do, and I think that's why people, I think that's why that, whatever, that's being attributed to me now, you know?
Where can the people find you online?
Everywhere. Thank you for asking me, because I always fail to put that out there. So anywhere you want to find me, Day of Shah. Instagram's probably where you can see me the most. So Instagram.com, Day of Shah, @Day of Shah. YouTube, same thing, youtube.com/Day of Shah. I stopped rocking with Twitter, Facebook. I do have a lot of foreign fans on Facebook. I think that's where my brown people find me the most. So I need to be more active there, but you know, so I'm there. And I guess TikTok, I guess it's time.
The children of
any of my people that are listening out there, any of your people listening out there that want to get involved, and you know how to, I can't even get into my account. So, but you can rock with TikTok. Yeah,
we gonna see that Shah dance one of these days.
Exactly. You got the dance, you got the hand moves, whatever. You got whatever challenge, come rock with me.
Hey man, your hands are moving already right now.
There we go. So you come rock with me. Like, you see where it's going. You see where it's going, and you want to handle TikTok for me, you're invited.
All right, last words?
Last word, yo, bless up. Thank you for having me. The way that this Austin week worked out is, on one hand, it was like a devastating letdown twice. My team put months of effort into South by, and then when South by flopped, then and Austin came together, then my team was rocking with Austin, and it's like, yo, Shah, we're still gonna do this. And there was a dozen bookings. And then when that shit flopped, after I arrived in Austin and everything was a wrap, everything was a bust, on one hand, it's one of these situations where you can let it just destroy you. But what we did was we said, nah, I'm still gonna rock with Austin. And I made these individual connections with humans that you can't do in a zoo like South by, because your mind's everywhere, because you gotta be getting the bag. But here, every night, throughout every day, I've made, like I've not even just touched the hands, but I've touched the souls of people who represent something in Austin, including brown people who I have been longing to connect with for years, and people in tech and people in finance who want to open doors for me that I just don't understand, and it's a blessing to have that. So my final words is like, thank you to Austin. You've shown a lot of love. The spirit of this place is something special. It's a special city. It's like a city whose soul outweighs its weight. It's like a New Orleans in like that, or like an Atlanta in that way. So my last words is, Austin, I got nothing but love for you. I'll be rocking with Austin probably a couple times per year, at least forever. So I'm with you, Austin. I'm happy you're with me, and we'll keep it moving.
There you go, man. Thanks again for doing this last minute.
Yep.
Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. Boosh.
Hey.
Hey, do that, and that shit, brother, and that shit, brother, and that shit, brother.
Can't wait to grow up, celebrate life, throw up, drinking all night, getting into fights, free, not a kid, around the world I live, school in the morning, tired, yawning, wired to stay in bed, dressed like the Walking Dead, a signed book, never read, diary of Anne Frank, interested, no thanks, when will school be over, in gym playing Red Rover, send Boosh over, home to play games, tired of the same day again. Me and my friends, prison we living in. Me and them, battle to the other side of 25. And life will be alright. Everything tight when the sun is shining bright. Wish I was a kid again. Life's hard. Wish I was a kid again. Hungry, I starve. Wish I was a kid again. Someone please take charge. Wish I was a kid again. All life's hard.
Wish I was was a kid again. Party every day, now my time I spend cleaning up vomit. With this comment, lost control. Fights with Uber passengers, lost a friend. Stupid chasing after her, no longer a kid. Bronx SA, Austin, lived. Going to work the morning, tired, yawning. Don't know what to do to get ahead. Book I never read, mad respect life she led. Research online, crazy how I whine. My current situation, the life she was facing. School's over, still out here playing Red Rover. Uber, Lyft, Austin, traffic shit. Sun's looking pretty cloudy. Looking at the mirror, continue to doubt me. Grass.